Painful fact, every single person in this room has a client right now who's already decided not to renew, not to continue. They just haven't told you yet. How to unlock the client success strategies that make your business unforgettable and therefore also more profitable. But before I dive into that, quick little question, because I like to get everybody engaged. Who likes to go to restaurants? You don't have to be a total foodie, but you're kind of into it. It's kind of part of your thing. Yeah. So I'm sure everybody here has a favorite. Does everybody have a favorite restaurant? Just spit it out, because I'm not going to walk around the room right now. Like, why? Why is it your favorite? What is it about it that makes it favorite to you? Great food, changing menu, consistent, the ambiance. Okay, right on. We'll get back to that in a minute for sure. Just to make sure I'm in the right room, this is what I'm going to be talking about, or rather who it's for. Businesses built on renewals, referrals, and recurring revenue. Now, this is a very broad term, obviously, but what I mean by this specifically is that most of everything I'm going to be sharing with you guys, although it's not exclusive to this fact, the idea is that it's going to help you build client relationships that keep going. We talked earlier today about lifetime value and all the importance of that. So this isn't an e-com solution. This isn't churn and burn. This isn't one-off clients. What I'm going to talk about is investing into people, the human experience. And that's precisely what this is about. So the people that can benefit from this topic are going to be these types. Generally speaking, it's going to be the CS ops and the founder CEO types. People that either are in charge of overseeing and maintaining the revenue, and those that are in charge and maintaining the people that drive that revenue. So although they're somewhat similar people, there's different psychology involved. But what I'm going to talk about is going to kind of hit all sides of those people's brains. So if you are one of these types, or you know people that are these types, what I'm going to be sharing with you today, I believe will be a good use of your time. And I think we'll have some takeaways for you. And I even got some fun stuff to share at the end. So there you go. A short study of human behavior. You guys were talking about restaurants and the reasons why you liked that. I also have a favorite restaurant in town. It's a steak joint. My wife and I love to go there, Old Town Temecula. And we walk in, they know us by name. They know our favorite table. They literally, sometimes we even ask if I even want to see the menu. They already know us, right? It's like, Norm, right? It's Mike, and they already know what we want and everything. It feels good. I like that feeling, right? It's consistent. It's got good ambiance. The recipes are good. The vibe is good, right? But something happened, and this is several months ago now. There was a new restaurant that opened up in town, and it was just down the street. And it was also supposedly a good steak joint. And I found myself conflicted. I was like, hey, should we go and check out this new joint? Yeah, but we know what we're going to get. We know that we like what we like. We know they know us. We know them, right? And yet here I found myself thinking, yeah, but it's new. What could it be? I don't know. I feel kind of intrigued. Maybe it's better ambiance. Maybe it's better recipes. I don't know. She didn't know, right? This is just human behavior. It's novelty. It's something unknown. It's fresh. And that's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. It is what it is. You could make an argument one way or the other. Whether we did go to the restaurant or we didn't go to the restaurant doesn't matter. What matters is we have to understand, as business owners, people that are in charge of other people that are in charge of creating the experience for those that invest in our products, services, or offers, we have to understand the psychology of what we're dealing with. It's not just, I'm really good at what I do, or I'm going to change your life, or whatever. These are all good things and they're fine, but we have to understand the psychology that's happening, especially if we want to retain those clients. We have to understand that ultimately, it doesn't really matter how good your stuff is. Eventually, that new joint's going to open up down the street. Eventually, people are going to be like, what's that thing over there? Got another question for you. And raise your hand if you're with me. Have you ever had a client where you produced a very good result, the promised result, the promise that they came in at the point of purchase, and then like a month later, sometimes even a week later, they're like, hey, this has been awesome. You're amazing. It's not you, it's me. I just want to try this new thing. Who's had that experience? Dude, bro, I just changed your life. Like, you had the best revenue month of your business, and the next month you're telling me, I'm going to try this thing down the street. What? That's not how this is supposed to work, right? I amazed you. I thrilled you. I gifted you. I did all the things I was supposed to do, and yet you still left. Interesting. 25 to 30% of your clients leaving is just considered normal. That's just normal. And in many cases, we're seeing these types of churn numbers on a monthly basis. Not fun, especially when it costs you thousands of dollars and tens of hundreds of hours to even acquire them in the first place. If you invest any kind of money, effort, energy towards client acquisition, you know that is not a cheap proposition. That could be like a rap or something. Anyway, it's my other job. Here's the interesting thing though, 8.5%. What's that mean? What's 8.5? Why is that such a big number on the board? Why did Mike do that? Because if your business churns 8.5% a month, that means you're rotating through your entire book of business every year. That's repeat every year, starting with a clean slate, just rotating through clients. Now, I don't know about you, but like that doesn't feel very good to me. That's not necessarily something that I want to feel like I can scale. And yet, as we saw earlier, those numbers are, this for a lot of businesses would be like the holy grail. They'd be like, oh my God, you've changed my life. They're not even getting close to that. All right, mandatory slide real quick. So you know what I'm sharing with you comes from experience, not just me chatting it up with Claude or ChatGPT or something. 20 plus years in business across hundreds of other businesses and verticals. I started my first business back in 1996, actually. Hardcore entrepreneur. I'm not going to give you the whole story. I'd rather use our time together for things that are going to serve you more. But I only share this with you, not to try to impress you, but to try to impress upon you that what I'm going to be talking about today is based on the blood, sweat, and tears, trial and tribulations along the way over 2 decades plus now of being in business on the front lines with both my own businesses and with hundreds of other clients along the way. In that process, developed and wrote 2 different books, bestsellers. And right now, my heart is centered around running ClientBloom.ai. ClientBloom.ai solves what happens after the sale. So it is a combination of training, technology, systems integration, and software that helps you solve some of the problems that we're going to be talking about today and ultimately create an exceptional experience for the people that you invite into your business. Now, I'm going to share this. I'm humbled and blessed to be able to say that I've worked with some pretty phenomenal people. This is certainly not all of them, but I wanted to highlight them only to, again, spell out that not just that, oh, Mike's really good, cool me, right? Pat on the back. It's to, again, highlight that I have an unfair advantage and I want to give you guys the unfair advantage. The unfair advantage is that I've worked with hundreds of clients across dozens and dozens of industries. So I've been able to extract and see under the hood of businesses of all scales of sophistication, of economics, of industry. And through that, I've been able to distill common threads, things that are repeatable, things that are identifiable, that you can then plug into your business. And I'll just be honest, this is just me kind of giving away my secret here. As a consultant, as someone that specializes in helping businesses become more profitable, more systematized, and ultimately more profitable and fun to run, that secret is derived from being able to pull ideas from one person's business and install it into another. Marley's and Steve's success has become, in part, sometimes been success in small bits. I don't give away the IP. I'm respectable. But the idea is that I can extract all these little ideas along the way and therefore help a lot of other businesses. It's a really cool positive flywheel effect from consulting. But there was a common thread. In fact, for 3.5 years or so, I partnered with a business based out of Nashville. In fact, that's how I know Marley and Steve, and it's how I know Ben and some of the others in the room. And my job was to oversee all the clients in this business, a portfolio of several hundred clients. And what was really interesting and slightly tragic was that there were some of these common threads were very expensive threads, very expensive. And it wasn't necessarily their fault. And I'll get into that in a minute. But There are specific stories that come to mind when I think about my experience during that period of time overseeing all these different clients. And one of the stories, I'm certainly not going to share their name. This gentleman lost 40% of his revenue in one quarter. That's 90 days. 40% loss in 90 days. And the rough part about that was that no one on his team saw it coming. Nobody. And you think, well, clients were happy. That's the shitty part. I asked him, I'm like, so what happened? He's like, I don't know. Like, just like I said earlier, I was doing good. The numbers look good. And yet through a series of events and circumstances, he's getting those emails. Who's gotten those emails? Hey, it's been good. It's cool, but I'm not going to be able to renew this month. Painful fact, every single person in this room has a client right now who's already decided not to renew, not to continue. They just haven't told you yet. And that's me included, by the way. It's just what it is. And like I said, it wasn't just him. Same story, business after business, whether it be major losses in revenue or whether it be complications of their systems or fulfillment or just whatever. It was really interesting to find that these problems, these challenges, these hiccups in their operating system were not unique to them. And so that's exactly what some of the stuff we're going to share about. And I'm going to share with you a framework that certainly we're not going to go too deep into it, but it's going to give you a good outline, and I'm going to give you a tool that you can go deep with it. But the problem ultimately was that client services had never been engineered. It was always an afterthought. We were talking about this earlier. Know, like, trust, market, sell, monetization, attention, demonstration, monetization, acquisition, right? That's the sexy part. That's what we're here to do. Let's freaking make money, right? I have no problem with that. I'm all about it. But the problem that I see and what I kept seeing across a lot of businesses is that this is kind of where their plans stopped. And then it was like, oh yeah, and then we got this like group thing. We'll send them off to a group, or we'll send them some emails, or I'll ship them something or whatever. They'll come to my event. And that's kind of where it stopped. That's not where it stopped. This is where it stopped. Leaking buckets. 20, 30, 40, 50% churn rates. Normal. That's just how it is. So what happens? The proverbial hamster wheel. Just churn and burn. They're so hyped up on getting more clients, more leads, more calls, more ads. What if you didn't need to do so many ads? What if you didn't need so many leads? Because people just weren't leaving. That's the challenge. That's the thing I want to kind of address here, is that you've got time, energy, resources being put into something that you already know is losing revenue, relationships, and referrals. So my challenge to you is that client services is not just afterthought or a fulfillment mechanism. Like, okay, yeah, they paid money for this, so now I got to give them this. You can actually transform client services to be a growth driver, a positive flywheel that actually generates more clients, like a licking ice cream cone. If you could invent that, pretty good. Happy clients. We already talked about this. Happy clients is not the goal. This is kind of another kind of voodoo thing. Like they think, well, as long as I keep my clients happy. That's not true. I was a happy client at that restaurant. You guys have happy clients at restaurants. You have clients that are happy with you right now. They're still going to leave. Being happy is not the goal. Happy doesn't mean committed. So your client services and fulfillment strategy is honestly, these days, one of your most defensible differentiators. Now, it used to be that just delivering on your promise was enough. Even before then, like in the 70s, it was if your product showed up at the door not damaged, that was considered good service. It was like, it actually made it and it works, it turns on or whatever. Like that was like, oh, they did it. And then it was, well, can you get it here to me faster, right? And then it was, well, now I can get it fast whenever I want. So can you get it to me cheaper? You can kind of see the trend that's happening. Now, the world, all of our customers, every single person in this room has a market where everybody's got their finger on their phone and can get whatever they want, whenever they want. Sometimes ordering things and it shows up like an hour later, faster than you could at going to the store yourself. Marley ordered some supplies she needed, and boom, within an hour it was here. Like, how do you beat that? You're not, unless you can differentiate yourself. And one of the last frontiers of true differentiation is client services. How do you design this experience that makes you unforgettable? This guy, Caesar Ritz. Anybody been to a Ritz hotel? Ritz Carlton? Have you ever been? Phenomenal. Phenomenal experience. This guy figured it out. 1898. That's not exactly like cutting edge technology. And yet, isn't it interesting that we find ourselves going right back to exactly what is going to separate our businesses from our competitors today? The experience post sale. So it is the experience. It's what keeps them engaged. This is what is kind of the new thing. So client services, fulfillment, whatever you want to call it, delivery, whatever. It used to just be looked at, like I said, as a cost center. It's reactive. It's just, hey, I got an email from somebody. They need something. It's just customer support. When I say client services and delivery fulfillment, engineer an exceptional experience, I'm not talking about customer support. Customer support is reactive. It's just responding to whatever's getting thrown at you. And that's where a lot of businesses live, in perpetual fires. And they're being blindsided by cancellation emails and all kinds of shit. Now, when you move over to what I'm proposing to you and what I want to try to get you guys to embrace is this concept of predictive, not just proactive, predictive. Getting the package on the doorstep and you didn't even order it. That's where we're headed. I didn't even know I needed it. But it's here. Now I really do need it. This is amazing. Like, that's the future we're going to. So how do we get there? We start looking at the fulfillment and the client services as an actual growth engine, predictive, developing systems to support it, and make sure that we are actually prepared for the environment, prepared for what we think they're going to need before they even know they need it. That's what client services means today, is actually thinking of problems, solving problems before your clients even know they have a problem. That's the juice. That's the fun stuff. So 3 foundational principles of client services and creating an exceptional experience. That's what I want to share with you today. A light framework. We're going to keep it very, very simple. This is not rocket science. That's the cool part. This does get real geeky and we can dive down rabbit holes and I'll jam with you for 3 hours on it, but we're not going to do that today. Okay. This is the framework, and I'm going to revisit this a couple different times, but this is it. If you can master these 3 principles of a business, the onboarding, the fulfillment and ascension pieces, and then the retention piece, if you can hammer these, you're onto something. This is not rocket science. I'm not blowing you guys away with this. I understand. But if you can master it, we don't need something new. We need to do better about what we already have. And let's start with number 1, because why not, right? Number 1 is onboarding, TTV, time to value. The first 30 days for most business models. Now adapt this to your deal. I don't know everybody's business and how you do it, obviously. So everybody can filter this as they see fit. But just, I want you to embrace, if nothing else, this TTV, time to value. How quickly can you get someone to go, I got to win here. This feels good to me. This is right. Now, if I buy a pack of gum, that TTV better be real short, right? It's just a pack of gum. It cost me $1. I open it, put it in my mouth, time to value. There it is. I got the win. Now, that may not be the case for some high ticket consulting or specialization of any type. I understand that. But the idea here is we need to have clarity. What is our time to value? Is this something that you're measuring? And that's a question that I think is worthy of writing down. Am I measuring time to value? Is that even a KPI, a key performance indicator of my business? If it's not, I think it should be. Because this is setting the precedence. This is informing your client. This is what it's like to be here. This is what it's like to live in Mike's world or Ben's world or Andrew's world. Like, this is what it's like. Set the tone. Time to value is a big one. Principle 2 is baseline, establishing a baseline. This is another big one. Establishing frequency. What I mean by that is understanding both their normal and helping establish your normal with them. So what does that mean? The interesting thing I learned in working with so many clients, and in particular this portfolio of clients of several hundred the last few years, was that some of the most successful, best clients ever, I rarely talk to them. And yet some of the other ones that I talked to a lot were maybe a little lower on the spectrum in terms of success or sophistication or just general quality. I'm sure we probably can say that we've had clients, some are not better as people, but better businesses, better fits, et cetera, right? We know what we're talking about here. I don't need to go deeper on that. The interesting thing is that if you don't understand that, if you don't segment these people, you start treating everybody the same. And this is where more bespoke consulting or more bespoke service delivery becomes very, very challenging, because you can't just run everybody through the mill. Like step 1, do this, step 2, do this. I learned real quick having some clients like fill out this form, then do this, then do that. They're out. They're like, dude, all I want to do is be able to hop on the phone with you or Taylor or whoever for, once in 90 days. That's good for me. That's all they're there for. Just unload real quick or shoot me a quick text on a Sunday night. Hey man, I'm dealing with this. What do you do? That's all they care about. But no, I have to get them through my framework. Step 1, step 2, step 3, right? They're out. So you really have to establish a baseline. And when we talk about ICP, ideal client profile, if you're not familiar, you got to segment that. You can't treat everybody the same. If you do, they're out. You're going to lose some of your best people. And then thirdly, the renewals and ascension mapping. What I mean by that specifically, although it's fairly straightforward, is that you've got to give people the vision. Where am I going? What am I going to get in the next 30 days? What am I going to get in the next 90 days? In fact, if you guys do have a business model where retention, renewals are important, I would highly, highly encourage you to adopt a QBR, quarterly business review. It's a 90-day cadence where you meet back up with them, review the previous 90 days, and then map out what does good look like 90 days from now. You've got to give them a future. Remember what we said earlier about those numbers, those churn rates, like, oh, but we were doing so good. Why did you leave? As soon as I implemented QBRs, retention went right up, and we didn't get people leaving after they had the best month ever. Why? Service didn't change. I didn't change. I was just as engaged with them. What changed? They had a picture of what it was going to look like 60 days from now, 90 days from now. I'm just being honest, guys. Like, they don't care what you did last month. And the really challenging part, this is especially challenging if you guys are really good at what you do. What's really interesting, going back to the human behavior and the human psychology of what it is that we're talking about here. If you're really good, they get used to being delivered to. They get used to getting really good results. And guess what? That's normal now. I tripled your revenue. Yeah, but that's normal now. Yeah, quadruple it. Dance, monkey. It's like, dude, right? So but if you paint the picture, now they're going somewhere. Now they feel like, okay, I'm working towards something. How's that quote go? Like the vision, like if there's no vision, they perish. I'm slipping on that one. Yeah. And then lastly, the third principle is understanding those behavioral patterns, which I was kind of already touching on, and deviations from the baseline. Here's the sexy stuff. Deviations from those baseline. We had to establish what is normal. How does this person operate? And then we need to be able to identify deviations off that baseline. Meaning, well, they usually operate like this, and now it's operating over here. The farther away these two things are, something's up. Really interesting. I'll go quick on this because I don't want to run out of time on you guys. I had a really interesting epiphany where we had this little signal inside our CRM where every single time someone opened up an email, we get a ping. And I got hit up by a VA, actually, virtual assistant. Hey, Mike, so-and-so's, the customer X keeps opening up their contract email, the one we sent to them at the very beginning. They opened it like 6 times that day. Hey, Joe. How's it going? Mike here. Oh, so good to hear from you. Yeah, what's up, man? Oh, just checking in. How are you? Right? And sure enough, he was a little bit on the fence. He was a little like, when I dug deeper, he's like, well, to be honest, man, I thought you and I would be talking more often. I'm like, I'm always here, bro, and the whole thing. And then we ended up getting him, we're good. We had a good plan and he's totally cool. But he's like, yeah, I'll be honest, man, I was a little bit on the fence. I wasn't sure if I was going to continue. Signal deviation, opening up emails 6 times in one day, not normal for this dude. And that's when the light turned on. I was like, damn, now if I could just do that at scale, this would be cool. Well, I found a solution for that, but that's a different talk. So revisit again, time to value. Please figure out how to measure that. I've got ideas and I'll share with you that later. Baseline, please establish a baseline as someone comes into your business, help them for themselves and you as the fulfillment, the deliverer, whatever, establish a baseline. What is normal? What do they expect? And then lastly, figure out how can we be predictive? How can we think ahead? How can we solve problems before they know that there's a problem? I know that's a challenging proposition, but it is actually capable. It is something you can do. Now, here's your homework. Just choose one. Which one are you going to solve for? Onboarding? You're going to solve for the renewals or ascension and fulfillment or the retention piece? Just choose one and do one thing this week to make your business stronger. Just one thing. That's it. Keep it super, super simple. Just one. And then step back and go, okay, well, let's measure it. Did it get better or did it get worse? Well, it's actually better now. Okay, cool. Now what do we want fixed, right? Like just one thing in a week. Just keep it super, super simple. Now, if you're like most people at this point, they're like, well, this sounds pretty cool, Mike, but I don't know. Like fix what and how and where and when and all the things, right? But wait, I have a solution. I wrote a book a couple of years ago called The Exceptional Experience. And it has the frameworks, the models, the systemization, and the application of everything that, I've been jamming on with you guys here. And you can see the chapters, what client services actually is, what it isn't, crafting a memorable client journey, engineering happiness through design, client relationship management, unlocking client loyalty, building a client services team, the tools, the frameworks, and the templates, and the missing piece, moving from frustration to solution. Little sneak peek, what do you call that? Kind of sneak preview, I guess we'll say, is that this is the new chapter. This one got rewritten because of some new developments and some new really fun toys and tools that I was able to develop over the last couple of years out of necessity, not because I just wanted to, but we had to realize that the world is changing. Clients are demanding things differently and delivery has to change because of it. And therefore we developed tools for it. And that's what that addresses.